You're watching Courage, Stories of Everyday Hope. I'm Lacie Madison, your host, and today's episode, Zohran Mamdani's message isn't just a warning to Taco and the DNC. No, it's a rallying cry for us, the working class. We, the people, have spoken. Writing the script for today's show, the United States have just watched a veritable blue tsunami wreck Tacos Tuesday, while simultaneously giving something to the American people that we've been lacking since January of this year, and that is hope. Tomorrow, there will be more of us. Month after month since Don McCankles installed Elon Musk's illegal Doge team to gut our institutions and harvest the American people's personal private data, ordinary working class folks have taken to the streets to let their displeasure be known. What started in February with a few hundred protesters in Richmond's capital during the early days of the Taco regime, it's grown to a resounding 20,000 voices shouting together through the streets with one message. We, the people, will not stand for corruption. We will not allow criminals to dismantle our democratic republic, and we will not tolerate a crybaby wannabe dictator sending armed thugs to harm our communities. That story, that message, it's been echoed over 4,000 different locations across our nation, from the at least 7 million people who registered for No Kings 2 and the potential 14 million others who just showed up and are now telling us all that they also witnessed history. Because, who the heck registers for a protest, am I right? I never have. But I still show up. Now, there's also the millions of others who quietly cheered from their places of work, from their homes that they're unable to leave, from the ICE concentration camps where good, hard-working people are being disappeared to on the daily. And all of those people and more came out and gave a giant middle finger to Blob the Builder. In Virginia, not only did Abigail Spanberger win the governor's race, but Ghazala Hashmi won her race for lieutenant governor, and Jay Jones won his race too for attorney general despite a nothing burger texting scandal trying to make it into something. As a Virginian, it was pretty rich to see the party that jokes about letting alligators eat immigrants, excuses the actions of white supremacists, masked shooters, and pundits alike, who excuses a literal 30 and 40-year-old Nazis in the Young Republicans leaked text thread that called for us all to be put in concentration camps and gassed like it's 1939 as, that's just some kids making some edgy jokes. Also, these people who called for Mike Pence to be hanged as they stormed the Capitol on January 6th, whose rallying leader directly threatens the American people. Yeah, it's real ironic to live in a world where Stephen Miller can basically get away with parroting Joseph G. of the German situation.
You cannot defeat us, you cannot slow us, you cannot stop us, you cannot deter us.
Where the taco Führer can then post racist memes of Hakeem Jeffries and call the majority of the American people the enemy within, and all that doesn't raise a single eyebrow. But when a Democrat makes a joke referencing a meme about fascists in a private message, MAGA loses their whole mind. Yeah, it's real rich for MAGA to call foul on violent messaging when it's an ingrained part of their moveset, like an HM you can't unlearn. But, MAGA is nothing if not hypocritical. So much for the party of absolute free speech, am I right? But something incredible? Almost every county in Virginia went heckin' blue, even the really, really red ones. The people are waking up, and I now have a representative that represents me. Very excited. California understood the mission, and they delivered a resounding yes on Prop 50 after corrupt Texas maggots went ahead with their gerrymandering plan to disenfranchise voters. And the message is fight fire with fire. If they're gonna try is the key word, to make us a one-party state, well, then we can come together, beat the GOP, and then let's fix the system so that no voter ever has to hear the words gerrymander ever again, unless it's in a history book or you're watching our episode about gerrymandering. Those are the two places. I have spoken. Lacie has spoken.
I said what I said.
This gives us all a fighting chance to win more Democratic seats. And for every MAGA loser crying foul right now, the fact is that California's redistricting plan, it is going to be temporary. That should tell you something. Meaning, it's only going to last 2 elections before going back to being drawn by a nonpartisan commission. We explain a lot more of this in our gerrymandering episode that you should totally check out. What California is doing, that's what integrity looks like. And you know what? That's not all, because the Kansas GOP has abandoned a special session that would have had them redraw House districts. They're running scared! Yes! Sharice Davids is the only Democrat in Kansas's 3rd congressional district, and yet holding a supermajority was not enough for the GOP. While Zohran's message, which we are going to be getting to, trust me on this, was heard loud and clear across the nation, Representative Davids also had a message that was almost as powerful. Today, we've won the first round in this fight against gerrymandering, but their plan to cheat the system isn't over. They've made it clear that they'll do anything to hold on to power, but I've been just as clear. Voters should choose their representatives, not the other way around. New Jersey also stepped up to the plate and elected Mikey Sherrill as their new governor, and she had this to say to everyone in the state. I hear you, Jersey. Good government doesn't just manage problems, it solves them. Good government doesn't cause problems and then swoop in trying to look like heroes. It fixes actual problems and listens to the will of the people. And then, come closer, a little closer, little closer. There we go, okay, yeah. Minnesota secured a Democratic majority, sending a clear message that Melissa and Gilbert's assassination at the hands of a MAGA gunman will not go unanswered. Justice will be found for all. And finally, we now get to the man of the hour, the rallying cry that we the people have been waiting for. The one, the only, the self-described Democratic Socialist, Zohran Mamdani. He won the mayor's office of New York, bitch-slapping Andrew Cuomo out of the electoral race and back to the quiet halls of private life. And maybe, if there is a God in heaven, a jail cell in the near future due to his blatant corruption. And who knows? A girl can dream.
Right to jail, right away.
Zohran's message and his speech. You have to watch his speech in full because it is so powerful and it is so historic. And the message? This ain't Russia, Diaper Dawn. And tomorrow, there will be more of us. Zohran Mamdani's message, a rallying cry for the working class. I mean it when I say you need to listen to Zohran Mamdani's speech in full. Some news outlets are cutting it off at the 4-minute mark, but really it does such a disservice to the absolute smackdown that he gives to Taco Stiltskin. But we're going to focus on the highlights with a few clips and analyze it. Why analyze it, Lacie? He's my generation, and if we get a chance to give a speech, we are going to layer it with meaning and intent, and it's so good. Are you ready for some hopium? First, he starts off by quoting Eugene Debs.
I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity.
And then he tells on both the established Democrats that refuse to endorse him and the Taco Brigade. For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Say it louder for Chuck Schumer's deaf ass. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. Yes! I hope the DNC and their shareholders are shaking in their blue boots. He is speaking for us, as one of us, and he gets it.
I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life.
If that is not the political equivalent of, oh, I love that for you, I don't know what is.
Let tonight be the final time I utter his name.
As a chronically online lady, this was the smackdown of the night. May you be so unimportant, I no longer need to use your name. And if you've noticed, my writing team has actually been very intentional who we choose to platform with their full name. I see you, Zohran. I appreciate the game. As we turn the page on a politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few, New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change, a mandate for a new kind of politics, a mandate for a city we can afford, and a mandate for a government that delivers exactly that. On January 1st, I will be sworn in as the mayor of New York City, and that is because of you. So before I say anything else, I must say this. Thank you. Thank you to the next generation of New Yorkers who refuse to accept that the promise of a better future was a relic of the past. You showed that when politics speaks to you without condescension, we can usher in a new era of leadership. We will fight for you because we are you. Oh, why can't we have a young man be president now? Anyway, the mighty Zohran then goes on from there to thank the folks who are so often forgotten by the politics in the city. The Yemeni bodega owners, the Mexican abuelas, the Senegalese taxi drivers, the Uzbek nurses, the Trinidadian line cooks, and of course, the Ethiopian aunties. Yay! We love the aunties! Shout out to Auntie Tamara in Tennessee, who has believed in me and this show since its vague conception years ago. As my mom's best friend and sister, it is an honor to be your niece. If you know, you know. He then addresses every New Yorker in Kensington and Midwood and Hunts Point by saying, this city is your city, and this democracy is yours too. This campaign is about people like Wesley, a 1199 organizer that I met outside of Elmhurst Hospital on Thursday night, a New Yorker who lives elsewhere who commutes 2 hours each way from Pennsylvania because rent is too expensive in this city. The rent is too damn high! It's about people, like the woman I met on the BX 33 years ago who said to me, I used to love New York, but now it's just where I live. And it's about people like Richard, the taxi driver I went on a 15-day hunger strike with outside of City Hall, who still has to drive his cab 7 days a week. My brother, we are in City Hall now. Yes! Yes! He's speaking to us, the little people!
This victory is for all of them. And it's for all of you.
Mayor-elect Mamdani then went on to thank the more than 100,000 volunteers that made his campaign a reality, who made it into an unstoppable force before saying that,
Because of you, we will make this city one that working people can love and live in again.
oh, Mayor-elect Mamdani, you know just what to say to a burnt-out activist. Oh, thank you. And then he tells the people who made his campaign the unmitigated success that it was, that he has one last request. New York. Breathe this moment in. We have held our breath for longer than we know. We have held it in anticipation of defeat. We've held it because the air has been knocked out of our lungs too many times to count, and held it because we cannot afford to exhale. Thanks to all of those who sacrificed so much, we are breathing in that air of a city that has been reborn. And how real is that? You know, Eric tells me that when he was at the No Kings protest in Richmond on October 18th, one of the bands who played after the march, which again, let me remind you, had over 20,000 people attend, the band told the crowd who had just finished chanting and marching and cheering for their united cause to not take the day as a victory, that their jobs weren't done yet, and that we still had an election to win on multiple fronts, that only then could we celebrate. And you know something? He was right. But this is a victory worth celebrating. This is a moment for us all to collectively celebrate, to breathe in that hopium that we've been craving before we get ready for the next round of the fight. Mamdani's speech continued as he thanked his wife and mother and every single New Yorker, whether they voted for him or not. And he promised to work to make the city better for them too, because that's what a real leader does. And then, amidst a speech full of hope, he speaks to a truth that all of us are waking up to. There are many who thought that this day would never come, who feared that we would be condemned only to a future of less, with every election consigning us simply to more of the same. And there are others who see politics today as too cruel for the flame of hope to still burn. New York, we have answered those fears. Tonight, we've spoken in a clear voice. Hope is alive. Hope is a decision that tens of thousands of New Yorkers made day after day, volunteer shift after volunteer shift. More than 1 million of us stood in our churches and gymnasiums and community as we filled the ledger of democracy. Is it a little hot in here? And while we cast our ballots alone, we chose hope together. Hope over tyranny, hope over big money and small ideas, hope over despair. We won because New Yorkers allowed themselves to hope that the impossible could be made possible. And we won because we insisted that no longer would politics be something that is done to us. Now it is something that we do. It is so beautiful, that line of politics has been something that is done to us as a younger generation. I feel like that's exactly captures how we feel. And yet now this is our time. I'm now going to fast forward to something he says a bit later on in the speech because it's going to be really important to the ultimate message of this episode. He says, "This will be an age where New Yorkers expect from their leaders a bold vision of what we will achieve, rather than a list of excuses for what we are too timid to attempt. Central to that vision will be the most ambitious agenda to tackle the cost of living crisis that this city has seen since the days of Fiorello LaGuardia, an agenda that will freeze the rents for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, make buses fast and free, and deliver universal childcare across our city."
Years from now, may our only regret be that this day took so long to come.
It is no mistake that Mamdani evokes the name of its most legendary mayor, Fiorello LaGuardia, a Republican who took on the corrupt Tammany Hall Democrats in the middle of the Great Depression and onward until the end of World War II, working hand in hand with the New Deal Democrats to root out corruption and create a better tomorrow for the people of New York City and beyond. FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and LaGuardia worked closely together throughout his time in office and beyond, and they actually made a real difference for working class people. And oh my goodness, it looks like history might be able to repeat itself. I see a future where a Democratic Socialist makes their way to the White House in 2028, and together, the mayor of New York and the president of the United States work together, hand in hand, to make America great, not just for the people in power, not just for the billionaires stealing all of our tax dollars, and not just for the super rich who refuse to pay their fair share, but for us, the working people of the world, whose labor has been extracted to line the pockets of the corrupt for far too long. I foresee a future where the rich are taxed their fair share, and the working people of America have the right to refuse service to shitty companies unwilling to get with the times. But Mayor Mamdani didn't finish his speech light, and he didn't mince words when addressing the Cheeto Hamburglar either. In a moment of political darkness, New York will be the light. Here we believe in standing up for those we love, whether you are an immigrant or a member of the trans community, one of the many Black women that Donald Trump has fired from federal job, a single mom still waiting for the cost of groceries to go down, or anyone else with their back against the wall. Your struggle is ours too. And we will build a city that stands steadfast alongside Jewish New Yorkers and does not waver in the fight against the scourge of anti-Semitism, where the more than 1 million Muslims know that they belong, not just in the 5 boroughs of this city, but in the halls of power. No more will New York be a city where you can traffic in Islamophobia and win an election. The new age will be defined by a competence and a compassion that have too long been placed at odds with one another. We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about. And now, I know that many have heard our message only through the prism of misinformation. Tens of millions of dollars have been spent to redefine reality and to convince our neighbors that this new age is something that should frighten them. As has so often occurred, the billionaire class, read robber barons, have sought to convince those making $30 an hour that their enemies are those earning $20 an hour. They want people to fight amongst ourselves so that we remain distracted from the work of remaking a long broken system. But we refuse to let them dictate the rules of the game anymore. They can play by the same rules as the rest of us. Yes, yes, all to the yes! Together, we will usher in a generation of change. And if we embrace this brave new course, rather than fleeing from it, we can respond to the oligarchy and authoritarianism with the strength that it fears, not the appeasement it craves. After all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Holy shit! Holy shit! This is what we have been missing from our elected leaders. If the Democrats even want to remain relevant in the era that is coming and is already here now, they're going to have to study Zohran Mamdani's campaign, his debate strategy. I mean, heck, his demeanor and his way of carrying himself. All of it. This is what we've been wanting the Democratic Party to do since this whole thing has started. To stand up to corruption, to stand with workers, rather than appeasing the baddies on top. And history now is backing up what I believed on election night 2024. Kamala Harris lost that election not because she was too left. It's because she wasn't allowed to be left enough. Something to think about. My wonderful viewers, this has been a wild ride. From those first protests to the current blue tsunami, we have felt despair, but we kept moving on. And Zohran Mamdani made sure that he identified himself not as one of the standard parties, not a Republican and not a Democrat, but a proud Democratic Socialist. And that, to me, ladies and gentlemen, is courage. This has been a Doculite Media production. My name is Lacie Madison. You've been watching Courage, Stories of Everyday Hope. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share with everyone, and let us know what part of the show you enjoyed below. It does mean the world to us. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.